Hello, I'm Guillermo Martinez, and we're doing a segment here on frequently asked questions. And one of the questions that came up was, "What drum do I recommend for beginners?" We've already covered this earlier, but we're going to cover here in a more. I covered it more comprehensively in a previous video on Instagram, but we'll do it here in a quicker fashion. 14 and 16 inch is what I recommend because of their portability. This is a 14-inch single, and the 16-inch single is just a couple inches bigger. Okay, if you wanted the deeper tone, I would go with the 16. We'll give these a little play. And that's the 14 and the 16. You can hear it's a lot deeper. And then the other thing too is if you're these kind of single-sided drums where you hold from the back are good for portability. They're good for moderate climates. I would say anything really extreme, you're going to want to go to the sweat lodge style drum, or we call it the double-sided. That double skin keeps insulated space in between, and so this is good for like humid areas like a sweat lodge or a jungle environment, and or where anything where humidity and temperature is an issue. The double-sided drums hold up extremely well in those kind of conditions. So that's my recommendation. Okay, we had another commonly asked question about the drums is what kind of care. I suggest coconut oil once every 5 to 10 years. This is just to keep the skin supple and from taking in moisture. Just like your own skin in the, when it's really dry, your skin gets dry and cracked. Same with, an animal is producing also its own natural oils, but when it's, no longer alive, then, we have to do that for it. And so coconut oil or palm oil work the best. They're non-rancid. They don't create a smell. And you just put it on, wipe it off. And once, depending on really environment, if you're in a desert environment, then you might want to do it every year. Okay, my recommendation. Okay, another commonly asked question is how do you get a drum to last in a sweat lodge? Well, if you're going to have this kind of drum, a single-sided, then don't bring it in until you're going to use it. After you have the drum outside, don't put it near the fire. It should be close to the fire but not near it, because one thing that happens, put it close, it's gonna overheat it, and you're gonna have to heat up the drum constantly to keep it to play. Bring it in, use it. When the door opens, second round, take it out, and then just keep bringing it, take it in and out, and put it close to the fire, let it dry out. Another thing, don't use this kind of drum. Use a 14 or 16-inch double. You can always, you probably won't even have to take it out. Last all 4 rounds. And make sure it's a thick skin. So either thick elk or thick bison. And if you're getting them from me, then make sure you let us know that that's what you want it for, and I'll make sure you get a proper sweat lodge or temazcal drum, because this is what we use, and for us, they've been going all 4 rounds, no problem. Hello, okay, getting back to frequently asked questions. Now we're switching on to flutes. Which is the best flute for a beginner? An A flute will fit 90% of the population, except for extremely petite hands. This is good even for a 3rd grader. Like I said again, we have these videos already on my YouTube channel, Quetzalcoatl Music, on how to pick a flute. I think I did one also for Instagram, and I believe there's one on Patreon, but for sure on my YouTube channel. And you can watch that thoroughly, and I go through all the flutes. But an A, and if you're because it's based on spacing of the holes, you want it to be comfortable. So this is, for me, I'm kind of medium large hands. This is really easy, extremely easy for me. And as the flutes get bigger, holes get farther apart, your fingers have to spread, and that's where the issues come. So if you're a male or a woman with large hands, then an F sharp and G or even an E would be adequate. If you have really large hands, you could, you know, that poses other issues in that you can reach really far, but when you reach small flutes, it's maybe a little too cramped for you because your fingers are too wide. So A is kind of right in the middle. It'll fit pretty much anybody.
In your opinion, what's the difference between 432 and 440?
Okay, this is a good question. Maybe we could probably elaborate more on this, but 440 is standard concert tuning. It's what, you know, like guitarists and, you know, pianos, all Western music is pretty much tuned in 440. There are exceptions. John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, quite a few other musicians, professional musicians, did experiment with different tunings. 444 is one of them. That I think the song Imagine is written in that tuning. Jimi Hendrix, a lot of his stuff is in 432. This is, you know, there's a lot of information on YouTube where you can listen to different, you know, songs that are known songs in both these tunings, and you can kind of really hear the difference and kind of the feel. But 432 seems to be where it seems to be more energetic, more harmonious to the body and also to the earth frequency. Like Om, for example, is C sharp 432, and so it's I would, you know, when people ask me this, you know, it's if you're doing more sound work, sound bath, you know, sound healing kind of work, then, you know, 432 is great. If you're going to be doing professional recording, you know, you might want to stay with 440 because a lot of your other instrumentations is going to be in 440, and it's just better to be in line with them. And our group that I play in, we do all our songs in 440. We did a few this last recording with 432, but mainly we do 440. So those are the key differences.
Do the different woods affect the flute, the sounds of the flute?
Yes, basically wood. The flute body is basically a resonator, just like on a guitar. You pluck the strings, the whole body of the guitar is vibrating. So the kind of wood you have on the top is important, on the sides and on the back on a guitar. And typically they will have like hardwoods with maybe a spruce or a cedar top, and this kind of lends it warmth and richness. Kind of the same, you know, taking those principles and applying it to flutes. Hardwoods, you know, the sound is vibrating, it's bouncing off, and the wood is coloring the sound. So a harder wood, you know, it's like a brighter surface. So it's, you know, it's the voice or the tone could be brighter. And, you know, cedar, the softer woods can be warmer. But not to say that's, you know, 100% always the case. You know, there's some hardwoods that can have a really nice warm sound, and also some softwoods can have a really bright sound. And this is to kind of indicates that each flute is very unique. And I kind of think of it as, you know, more about choosing wood as far as where you live, your climate, you know, where the flutes can be played constantly. If you're going to be in the jungle, then a hardwood is going to be not the one. You're going to want a softwood, something that can handle the environment and the conditions. Professionally, I use cedar pretty much exclusively. The reason is it's a very stable wood. It's non-reactive. It doesn't react much to humidity or conditions that are surrounding it, and I can always count on it. And the hardwoods tend to be more problematic, which now brings up the question about watering out. People play for 5 minutes and then the flute stops playing because the way these flutes work, you have condensation that develops right here because the air is coming through here and it actually gets compressed. Whenever you compress air, you're going to get water molecules to form. That's just physical law. And so, we can't fight the physics on this. What you can do is you can get a wood that's soft, that absorbs moisture better. A hard wood, the moisture tends to bead on the surface. And yeah, if it's watering out is an issue for you, you live in a place that's cold and humid, like along the coast somewhere, like in the Bay Area, then a softer wood would be a better recommendation. The flute will play longer versus a hardwood. Okay, we have a question about breath techniques. This is something I covered on my Patreon channel, and I think the key thing, the most important thing that's gonna make you sound great is vibrato, and that is where you actually pulse the sound. I'm gonna play a little something. And that's pretty much just straight, no vibrato. Same thing, add some vibrato. And you can hear the difference. Now it has more of emotion, more feeling, and that comes from your diaphragm. And that's, kind of having your diaphragm engaged. People go, what is that diaphragm? It's a muscle that's you have here between your stomach and your lungs, and you can engage it. And for those of you who don't know, how to find that, put your hand here on your stomach and you're going to do your vowels, A, E, I, O, U with an H, so it's ha, he, hi, ho, hu. And you can put it here in your stomach and you'll feel it. You'll feel the muscle going up and engaging. And you're going to have to strengthen it. And what you do is you're going to ha, 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 he, hi, hi, ho, 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 hu, hu, hu. And it's like, doing cardio or something, but it's for your diaphragm, and it'll strengthen it. You're going to do it until you get sore, and it's going to hurt. You're going to walk around like you've done 1,000 push-ups. Sit-ups, 1,000 sit-ups, and it's going to really hurt. But you got to strengthen it, and as you know, it'll eventually, the soreness will go away, and just keep doing it, keep playing, engage it until you can control it. And that's what gives you, so that's the most important breath technique that I would recommend, is vibrato, and learning how to get that diaphragm engaged and use it properly.
Can you teach yourself to play the flute?
Yes, you can teach yourself to play the flute. I taught myself. I didn't have no YouTube. YouTube didn't even exist. I don't even know if computers were around. But didn't have a computer. I struggled a lot. It's going to be a lot easier for those of you who can go on YouTube and people, make sure you just put Native American flute lesson. You make sure you don't put just flute lesson, because you can get recorder, you can get silver flute, you get all kinds of lessons, but you have to be very specific, because and so just make sure you put Native American flute lesson. I have a YouTube channel, there's some lessons there, and there's also some on Patreon that I have, and there's other people, you can find yourself a silly person to teach you how to play on YouTube, or someone that's really serious. It's whatever you want. It's all there. And also back in the day, flute circles was important, because you can actually learn from another player, someone that was better than you, and just sitting with them for a little bit. And yeah, it's kind of hard now, but maybe later that's going to be a possibility. You can take Zoom. You know, you can take Zoom lessons now. You can also do it later with someone that's proficient. So these are commonly asked questions. If there's any more, please send them in, and we'll try to answer them as concise and as good as I possibly can. You know, we appreciate the support. We appreciate the patience. These things are handmade. It's not like I have a stock of flutes here, or drums or whatever. But we appreciate patience and the support all of you have been showing, and rest assured that when we do make the flutes and drums and rattles here, they go through my hands. They're done conscientiously and with good heart, and the best of my ability, and the way my teacher taught me. And so thank you. Quetzalcoatl.